First in high definition from the station on your side, this is WAVY News 10.
A bill that would define life as starting at conception is dead for this year in Virginia.
Keyword is this year. Late this afternoon, the Senate voted to send the so-called personhood bill back to committee until next year, but neither side is really ready to let this rest. Then on your side, Stephanie Harris is at Planned Parenthood in Virginia Beach today, where people on both sides of the issue are kicking their campaigns into high gear, Steph.
Yeah, Tom, these demonstrators came out in force today because they're scared. The House recently passed two bills, the personhood bill and another one mandating that a woman get an ultrasound before an abortion. And just because the Senate pushed back personhood until after the election year, well, that doesn't mean that their fight is over. We've heard both sides before.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee.
Pro-choice.
Clap your hands, raise your voice, the USA is pro-choice.
And pro-life.
We're just here to pray. We're here to pray for an end to abortion.
But the same old messages are taking on new fervor in Virginia Beach.
I think that the silent majority is finally waking up to what's going on in Richmond.
I'm actually disgusted by it, and that's why I felt compelled to come out today and to bring my daughter for her future, to protect her future.
Families on both sides feel threatened.
I tell my kids this is a spiritual battle going on, and we've got God on our side.
Her weapons in this war: balloons, posters, and prayer.
Now and at the hour of our death, amen.
Much like the other side, their goal is to grab the attention of those driving by, to compel them to carry those honks home and get on the horn with their lawmakers. Now, before the Senate committee passed the ultrasound bill, it dropped the controversial part. Transvaginal imaging is now eliminated from that bill. It would only mandate the kind of ultrasound which is done right over the stomach. Stephanie Harris, 10 on your side.
And Democrats are seeking to capitalize on a controversy over a White House policy on contraceptives. Leading Catholic groups object to the policy that requires employers, including religious-affiliated groups, to provide coverage for contraception. But many Democrats say the issue is about women's health, not religion. The House Oversight and Government Reform Committee was criticized last week for not having any women on the panel.
It's official. The U.S. Postal Service will stop processing mail in Norfolk and instead forward it all to Richmond. The decision comes after months of consolidation studies and protest from postal workers. 10 on your side's McNamara explains the changes customers can expect to see. Ann?
Nicole, here's the biggest change. When you send something in the mail, it will go to Richmond before it goes to its destination, even if the destination is just blocks away from where you sent it. But the Postal Service says the extra trip is actually saving money, $20 million a year.
In the last decade, the amount of mail circulating through the United States Postal Service has decreased by almost half, building up billions of dollars in deficit. Chief Operating Officer Megan Brennan says the quick fix to eliminate costly, underutilized infrastructure. Cue the Norfolk Processing and Distribution Center. The lobby, retail, business mail, and maintenance facilities will stay open, but the mail won't be sorted here. Instead, it will travel 83.5 miles to the Processing and Distribution Center outside Richmond. It's a cost-saving measure that doesn't make sense to most people, like former employee Timothy Williams.
It's very strange, very strange.
Here's the reasoning. Norfolk processing equipment is used 6 hours a day, but with the changes, the equipment at the Richmond Center will operate 20 hours a day. The USPS says it increases efficiency.
I know everybody calls it snail mail, but when you get your check in the mail, it gets there fast enough.
The Postal Service says customers will notice a one-day delay in first-class mail. And hanging in the balance, the employees, 472 in Norfolk alone, who still don't know how this will affect their jobs.
They're going to have to move or leave. And in this economy, it's not easy to leave.
Listen to this, though. An audit from September found the Richmond facility more than doubled the amount of delayed mail over a 2-year period. The audit cited inadequate staffing and supervision, low numbers of mail put through those machines, and failure to color code mail. In response, a spokeswoman for the Postal Service says, quote, "We've already seen improvements. We've already seen progress." I'm Ann McNamara, 10 on your side.
Michelle Martell with the U.S. Postal Service says the changes won't happen until next year. Martell could not comment on potential layoffs. New ahead at 6, 10 on your side digs deeper into the choices some employees will have to make.
Two parents accused of neglecting their twin 9-month-old boys go back to court next week. Earlier this week, Portsmouth police arrested David Miller and Jessica Evans. Miller is behind bars. Evans is out on bond. Family members say the parents took their 9-month-old baby Chase to the hospital with head injuries. Those injuries sparked a neglect investigation, and police say baby Chase's twin brother suffered similar injuries. The babies are recovering in Child Protective Services. In Smithfield, a 4-month-old girl will be laid to rest tomorrow. The community is holding a memorial for Piper Malinsky, who died at the hands of her father, according to investigators. Sheriff's deputies say that Robert Malinsky and Mary Leanne Webb abused their twin daughters, Piper and Ella. Malinsky and Webb are both behind bars. Ella is in protective custody. The memorial for Piper is tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Smithfield High School.
Someone held up a Virginia Beach bank this afternoon. It happened just after 1 at the Wells Fargo near Virginia Beach Boulevard and Little Neck Road. Once the suspect got the cash, he took off. Police locked down the area. You can see crime tape around the building there. So far, no word on any suspects. The man who accidentally set himself on fire in a Norfolk grocery store bathroom died. It happened February 4th at the Farm Fresh on 21st Street in Ghent. The fire department says 80-year-old Willie Beasley accidentally set his clothes on fire. Bystanders used an extinguisher to put out the flames. Fire officials told 10 on Your Side Beasley died last night.
2 helicopters collided in the desert along the California-Arizona border, killing 7 Marines. Both collided midair near the Chocolate Mountains in an isolated portion of the Yuma training complex. 6 of those Marines were from Camp Pendleton. 1 was from Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma. The cause of this crash is still under investigation. Now, several accidents have happened in the past involving Marine Corps training in Southern California. In August, 2 Marines were ejected from their FA-18 Hornet fighter jet as it plunged toward the Pacific. In July, a Marine died when his helicopter went down on a remote section of Camp Pendleton. And back in February of 2002, a helicopter crashed in the Chocolate Mountains, killing 2 Marines and injuring 2 others.
Graduation protest. The governor is set to speak at a local university's commencement. Hear how and why hundreds of students are opposing his appearance. New tonight at 5:30.
Sounds like something good, getting students registered to vote. But next, you're going to hear why parents and kids are complaining about what happened during a voter drive at one local high school.
And Google changes. The search engine is getting ready to roll out a new privacy policy. Why some experts say you should be concerned.
And no concerns in the weather today. Absolutely gorgeous day. A little on the breezy side occasionally, but lots of sunshine. And temperatures really shot up during the day today. It was into the mid-70s across much of the region. Once ahead for tomorrow, some big changes will happen for you in the forecast.
You're watching WAVY News 10 at 5 with Tom Schaad, Nicole Livas, and Super Doppler 10 Chief Meteorologist Don Slater.
How many times a day do you Google? Well, starting next month, the search engine is going to track your activity and build a profile of you. Google says it'll use the information to improve its services and give you better search results. Critics say the company is trying to boost its advertising and increase profits while making you a target of hackers.
If there are things that you want to keep private about your life, those records are all in there. If there are things that you actually need to prevent other people from knowing about you, those will be in there.
As for the new policy, Google acknowledges that, quote, people have different privacy concerns. Our goal is to be clear about what information we collect so that you can make meaningful choices about how it is used, end quote. Google says it is working to embed a do not track button into most web browsers.
The White House unveiled a new plan today aimed at online privacy protection. The goal of the Consumer Privacy Bill of Rights is to give you more control over how much of your personal data is made available to outside companies. It says you should be able to access and correct personal data to maintain accuracy. Companies would only get the information they need for specific purposes. The Bill of Rights is voluntary. You may be enjoying the spring-like weather during winter, but something you probably don't like is coming out early as the temperatures go up. We'll tell you the best way to fight it.
And voter registration complaints why teens and their parents are not happy with a drive to get some high school students in Chesapeake registered to vote.
registration, misrepresentation, or misunderstanding? That's what the Chesapeake Registrar wants to know.
Parents and educators at Western Branch High called the Registrar's office last week, concerned about someone registering voters. 10 on your side's Melanie Woodrow is here now to explain what this is all about.
Tom and Nicole, that someone was a volunteer with Organizing for America. The group is an arm of the Democratic National Committee and was created to support President Obama. The registrar says he has reason to believe that that volunteer misrepresented herself, and he says that is a big problem. In less than a year, some Western Branch High School students will have the chance to vote in their first presidential election. Last week, close to 200 of them registered here at school. Those voter registration applications landed on Chesapeake General Registrar Al Spradlin's desk, but not until after several angry phone calls. The problem? Spradlin says Democratic group Organizing for America had no place in a school.
Isn't that a misrepresentation? If you give out Organizing for America but don't say Obama Organizing for America, isn't that misrepresentation?
What do you think?
It is. It's misrepresentation.
Spradlin says 2 teachers and 1 guidance counselor called him because the volunteers said they were with the registrar's office.
You know why that's a big concern for me? Because we are sworn by law to be totally nonpartisan.
Once inside the school, volunteers gathered students' names, addresses, and social security numbers.
Well, I think they were probably putting them on a computer program or list or whatever.
Some students became concerned when they received a registration receipt that had President Obama's name on it. Stradlin called Organizing for America's regional field director.
He said, oh, I think they just made a mistake and got the wrong forms. And I unloaded on him and I said, hey, there's no margin for error in the election system.
Hi, so I'm Melanie Woodrow. I'm a reporter at WAVY News 10.
10 on your side wanted to know misunderstanding or misrepresentation, so we tracked down an Organizing for America volunteer.
All I know is there were 10 of us, and all we wanted to do was to help registered children to vote. That's it. And no more, no less.
You'll hear the rest of what volunteer Bettie Anderson had to say tonight at 6. We are still waiting to hear back from Western Branch High School's principal about why these volunteers were allowed in school and if school officials believe that the volunteers misrepresented themselves. Melanie Woodrow, 10 on your side.
Virginia's Republican presidential primary is less than 2 weeks away. 2 candidates met the requirements to appear on the ballot, Texas Representative Ron Paul and former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney. Write-in votes will not be counted. Polls will be open from 6 a.m. till 7 p.m. If you don't know where to vote, check the State Board of Elections website. There's a link on WAVY.com. Tuesday is the deadline to request an absentee ballot by mail. The deadline to apply and vote absentee in person is Saturday, March 3rd.
Well, you might enjoy this mild winter, but trouble is, bugs and insects like the warm weather just as much as we do, which means they're going to find a way into your home earlier this year.
It's just February, and usually it's end of March when we typically see a lot of your ornamental insects and ants swarming and different types of beetles coming out, which we're seeing a lot more.
Oh, and I wonder what else, too. Pest control experts across the country say they're seeing bugs at least a month early. You may have noticed mosquitoes already, but they're not the only insects out there.
We'll see fire ants coming out earlier. We probably had flea reports and flea problems a little earlier this year. We'll also see things like termites emerge earlier in the spring.
All right, how do you fight back? Well, the pest control experts say your best weapon is a well-manicured lawn.
A beautiful day here in Hampton Roads, a perfect day to play outside like these kids here in Norfolk. Aren't they adorable?
They are. Probably no fire ants or anything out there, hopefully.
Did you get out and enjoy it?
Yes, I did.
I did too.
Yeah,
Took a nice walk around Ghent and
didn't want to come back inside the house.
Rode with the top down on the car.
The only thing, I don't have that. I don't have that.
Stuff in the air, though, you know.
Yeah, I'm a station wagon kind of guy. So,
Yeah, right.
I want to know what ornamental insects are. I've never heard of that.
You know, they're probably pretty.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You have just little pretty bugs on your...
Unless they're in your bedroom or something, and they're not so pretty.
Take a look at what's out there. Temperature's the big story for the day. Obviously, very, very warm. We didn't break the high for the day. Didn't get really, really close to that. We hit 75 so far today. The record is 79 degrees set back in 2003. Right now, it's back down to 72. You can see very, very warm air covering the eastern 1/3 of the United States, and a closer view of our area. Again, 72, 73. Little cooler in areas surrounded by that water with that breeze coming in off the water, off the Chesapeake Bay or off the Sounds. It's holding the temperature down there along the Outer Banks. But again, very, very warm day. Cloud cover, we've seen some thin cloud cover move on through. You can see a little of that right now. And we're going to see clouds get thicker and thicker and lower by tomorrow during the afternoon. And that's going to give way to some rain. And we're going to see a big change in terms of our temperatures coming up. Now, tomorrow is still going to be warm. It's going to be warm overnight. It's only going to drop into the upper 50s to around 60 overnight. Winds drop off for a time overnight. We'll see this warm front lift northward through the region. There's where it is by 2 o'clock in the morning. Winds pick up a bit, 10 to 20 miles an hour. So you thought it was warm today. It's likely to be a few degrees warmer during the day tomorrow, but very windy, 15, 25-mile-an-hour winds at 7 o'clock in the morning. Take you to the noon hour. There's some rain approaching, and there's also a cold front approaching. As of yesterday, we thought this front was going to be over the top of us right at the noon hour. It looks like it's going to be a little delayed, and that means it's going to get warm. 15, 25-mile-an-hour winds at the noon hour for tomorrow. By 4 o'clock in the afternoon, we've got some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder. Certainly a better chance of showers and thunderstorms out of this batch that's moving across the Outer Banks. Look at the wind, 20 to 30-mile-an-hour winds. There's where we are at 4 o'clock. By 7 o'clock, though, the winds have shifted to the west-northwest into Virginia, still southwesterly along the Outer Banks, and still some thunderstorms. We could see strong thunderstorms across the Outer Banks during the afternoon hours, so we'll watch for that. 15, 20-mile-an-hour winds at 7 o'clock in the evening, and by the midnight hour, 20 to 25-mile-an-hour winds are kicking on in, and so is the cooler air by that point. There's where we are by Saturday morning. Winds drop off, but briefly, then 10 to 15, and then finally the wind does drop off by Saturday night. We'll see some sunshine and cloud cover during the day on Saturday. A look at our tower cam over the past couple of hours. And again, a few clouds have moved in during the afternoon hours, but again, very, very nice day. Temperatures again topped off at around 75 in Virginia Beach. A little sea breeze has kicked in, 65 degrees, 72, 69 degrees in the Newport News. Hampton, Chesapeake, and Suffolk, basically low 70s throughout most of the area. And again, we're surrounded by water. It is a little cooler along the eastern shore and, of course, along the Outer Banks. Highs today, upper 60s into the mid-70s. Very, very warm again during the day today, and it's likely to be a degree or two warmer for tomorrow, but obviously, I showed you Future Track, we're going to see some wind. That wind will continue into the first part of the day on Saturday. Definitely cooler by tomorrow night and into Saturday. Sunday, a high of only 48, warming back up again next week.
A man caused an avalanche and lived to talk about it. This is quite a story. You're going to hear what he said about how he survived this massive snowslide.
And new information on this North Carolina school bus fire, what may have caused the smoke and flames, and how every school district in the Tar Heel state could be impacted. A toddler drowned in a baptismal pool at an Indiana church daycare. Police say when workers realized the 1-year-old was missing, they found him unresponsive in the pool of 2 feet of water. Foul play is not suspected. 8 employees care for 45 children there. The daycare was recently cited for a long list of violations, including expired food and not doing criminal background checks on employees.
A man on a snowmobile triggered an avalanche in Utah, and he survived. A friend's helmet camera caught this. This is pretty amazing. Nate Smoot caused the slide. He was driving a snowmobile over a weak layer of snow. He jumped off the vehicle and then grabbed onto the nearest tree.
It was about a 700 feet kind of drop down the hill where the snow went, and I'm sure I would have not been standing here today if that tree wasn't there for me to grab onto. I've looked back on it all day, just kind of watched that video, and just really makes me grateful for, for how bad it went. It went pretty good, and I'm just happy to be here and and see my family again and be able to be with them.
700 feet, that would be amazing. Smoot admits that he went into an area that he should not have gone to. Crews later found a snowmobile several hundred feet down the mountain, crushed against trees.
Firefighters in California had to battle more than just flames when responding to a brush fire. When crews arrived, they found hundreds of beehives on fire in West Sacramento. To make matters worse, they had to try and battle the fire, that big fire there, without getting stung. Still trying to figure out what sparked the flames.
A time for greatness, back where it all began. Hear the message behind NFL star Plexico Burress's return to his Virginia Beach high school.
And sticker shock at the gas station. The pain at the pump keeps getting bigger. Hear what President Obama says will fix the problem tonight at 5:30.
NFL star Plexico Burress returned to his alma mater today. He stopped by Green Run High School in Virginia Beach to encourage students to stay in school and graduate. His campaign is called Time for Greatness. Through the Plexico Burress Foundation, along with the Banneker Franklin Foundation, Burress hopes to make a difference in the lives of young people.
You know, just really trying to stress education, you know, to these students, and, you know, to let them, you know, be knowledgeable how, you know, important education is, and, you know, staying in school, and, you know, just trying to, follow your dreams, basically, so to speak. You know, I'm living proof of just, you know, a hometown guy, you know, having big dreams and goals and aspirations, and, you know, I just want to come back and, you know, just be that little hope to, you know, push somebody through the door and, you know, and do great things in life.
Burress spent last season as a wide receiver with the New York Jets. Last June, he left a New York prison where he served 2 years for accidentally shooting himself in the leg at a nightclub. Stay with us. WAVY News 10 at 5:30 starts right now.